We had elbows landing, huge upsets, and overall great fights on Misfits 007. And I have some thoughts to share on this event.
He's done it from time to time. Just a bit.
From the United Kingdom, the Nightmare.
Alright, so Misfits 007 just went down. I'm going to go into each fight on the main card, and I'm not really going to touch on the prelim fights, but one fight I do have to mention is the Wings versus Boogie fight. The combined weight of almost 800 pounds in this fight. This fight went exactly how I thought it would. If you watched the training for these two guys, you knew Wings was going to go in here and just smoke Boogie. He looked like he took his training serious. He showed that he could at least throw a 1-2, while Boogie had no technique whatsoever. Wings got that second round finish, and overall, I'm just glad both guys came out of here safe. Now, the first fight to open up the main card was Lil Belzy versus Lil Kimchi. Both girls showed heart. I'd like to see both fighters again. Lil Kimchi came in on a pretty short notice, hasn't been training for very long, and she just couldn't figure out that reach advantage. Lil Belzy, this is her second fight, second win, used her reach to her advantage, got the victory, showed some decent skills, and I'd like to see her back. Both girls with a little more training will get better, and I'm sure we'll see them both again. Up next was the Virus versus DK Money fight. And I have to say, I didn't really have any excitement for this fight going into it. I haven't really been impressed with DK Money in the past, and I wasn't too familiar with Virus. But this was one of my favorite fights on the whole card. The back and forth was crazy. DK Money was dominating this fight. He has improved so much since his loss to King Kenny. We were going through this fight. I was happy for him. These improvements, you love to see it. You can tell he's learned to become a counter puncher in training, and he was using it effectively. And then they break off the clinch, and Virus just lands that nasty shot. Knockout, bro. I felt very bad for DK Money, but congratulations to Virus, man. That is impressive from a guy who was behind in the fight. This reminded me of that Dean the Great versus Waleed fight, bro. Dominating from one side, and then one shot finishes the fight. That's what happened here. This will be huge for Virus in the future. This will open new doors for him, and I guarantee we'll see him again. And I do feel for DK Money. He deserves to come back after this. We've seen the improvement. I want to see him back 100%. Great fight. Up next, we had Tennessee Thresh versus Paigey Keiki. This was a high-paced, intense fight. I was pretty impressed with the both of them. They aren't the most experienced, and they went in there and just had a slugfest. It was a very close fight, but I think they got the right call. Paigey Keiki winning by unanimous decision. I'd also love to see them both come back. I know she was saying in her post-fight interview that she would love to come back. It's just the beginning, and they both definitely have potential in this scene. I enjoyed this fight, and just a fun one to watch. And then we had Salt Poppy versus Anthony Taylor, and this fight made me sad. I love Salt Poppy. He's one of my favorite Misfits fighters. I predicted him to win by second round knockout, and that did not go well. Anthony Taylor did his thing in this fight. He won this fight. He pushed the pace. He landed the bigger shots. This was his fight, and he deserved the win. Salt Poppy, I'm a huge fan, man, but a little disappointed in his performance. I don't know what happened. He definitely needs to work on his cardio. You can tell he was getting tired after that very first round. I don't know if it was something in training camp. I don't know if it was because he was fighting at a new pace for this fight. He definitely had a new approach to this fight, and I think that's because of the 3 rounds. He was trying to be more aggressive, and that was not working out for him. I think the 3-rounder was just a bad idea overall for Salt Poppy. I know his cardio wasn't the best anyway, but he wasn't able to be that counter puncher we're used to seeing in this fight because of how short it was. He kind of had to be more of an aggressor in this fight. He was on the front foot, and that has not been his fighting style up to this point. Anthony Taylor did what he usually does. He pushed that pace, that peekaboo fight style. He was landing that right hand time and time again. Salt Papi just couldn't figure it out. And overall, I just think this fight is going to be a huge learning experience for Salt Papi. He will bounce back. I believe that. It's not the end of Salt Papi by any means. He'll bounce back. I want to see him back soon, though. I want to see him take another fight, more than 3 rounds, work on that cardio, and we'll see what happens next. A big win, a big knockout, and he's right back into this thing. Look at what happened with King Kenny after his loss to Ashley Roxu. He'll be back. And then we had our co-main event, Deji versus Swarms, and I loved watching this fight, man. Deji was in his bag. He looked sharp. He had confidence, and you can tell him and Swarms were just not on the same level. I advocated for this fight. I wanted to see this fight, but now that we've seen it, it's done. I want to see Deji up the levels just a little bit with his next opponent. This was a great win for him. He dominated nearly every round. But shout out to Swarms, man. The transformation was awesome. You could definitely tell how much he's improved. I think Deji was just a little bit too much of a step up in competition for him this early on. He had a pretty solid jab, but a lot of the time he just couldn't figure out Deji. He was just covering up in that corner, trying to survive pretty much at that point. But he did. He went the full distance. And I want to see Swarms back again too. I want to see Swarms versus Pineda. That is a great fight. I want to see it. And I think that'd actually be a close fight. 2 of KSI's past opponents. Pineda, fan favorite. Swarms getting bigger in this scene day by day. That's the fight to make. And I would love to see that one, man. That'd be awesome. But for Deji, gets his 2nd win. Dominant victory. And it's time for him to up the levels. And then we had our main event, KSI versus Joe Fournier. And this one hurts because KSI was doing so well. He won that first round. You could tell the knockout was coming in the 2nd round. He rocks him with the right hand, and then he knocks him out with the elbow. And that sucks, dude, because KSI was going to win this fight, man. You could tell the direction this was going in. Joe Fournier, I really don't see him coming back into this fight. But the elbow did land. It is what finished the fight. And even though that sucks, the fight probably should be changed to a no contest. But that does not mean we need a rematch. I say we just give him the no contest and we move on to KSI versus Tommy Fury. No one wants to see that rematch. Let's be honest. We know what direction this fight was going in. KSI was gonna finish that fight. No rematch necessary. Change it to a no contest. Let's move on with our lives. You could see KSI really committing to this karate style boxing, and I'm not mad about it. KSI is not going to catch up to someone like Jake Paul or a Tommy Fury in a traditional boxing way. KSI is going to have to find different ways to compete with these guys, and that is through fighting in an awkward style. He works with a lot of MMA guys. You could tell by the elbow he landed, but he fights in that karate fight style. He throws some awkward punches sometimes, and that's what I think he embraces, and I think it's the smart thing because we're not going to change him at this point. He might as well commit, and that's what works in his favor, in my opinion. And now it's really time for him to step up the competition. If that Tommy Fury fight does happen, we're in for a rough one, man. That is going to be a tough fight for KSI, but I'm excited to see it. That is a fight I'd love to see, and I hope it's next. It looks like it is going to be next. So those are my thoughts on Misfits 007. What did you guys think? Did you think it was one of the better Misfits cards? Was it a little disappointing? Let me know. Subscribe for more boxing content and updates. The support is much appreciated. Thank you for watching. Peace.